If you are from Europe, especially if you are from the EU, you already know how high taxes are. Most Western European countries, Belgium, France, Spain, the UK, you are paying a lot in taxes. I talk to clients every single day who are trying to figure out how to legally pay less tax while living in Europe. And there are good ways to do that and there are bad ways to do that, and in this video I want to walk you through some of the options Europeans have to potentially pay very little or even no tax. And no, it's not just move to Dubai and abandon your entire life. There are ways to still spend a lot of time in Europe while also setting things up elsewhere in a way that can drastically reduce your tax bill as long as you have the right plan and, more importantly, the right execution. Now, this is actually going to take more than just my advice. You'll often need multiple advisors, but this video is a good first step to understanding what's actually possible, what options exist, and how changing certain behaviors can help you fit within the rules that allow you to save taxes. For context, I worked years in international taxation in one of the big 4 companies, and I help clients set these kind of structures up all the time. One of the advantages of my position is that I get to talk to people who have already done a lot of the hard work. I get to see what they've tried, what's worked, what hasn't, and I also speak with tax professionals in other countries so we can understand how different systems interact. That matters because once you are talking about living in Spain but being taxed somewhere else, now you are dealing with multiple tax systems at the same time. I'm going to mention Spain a lot in this video because Spain has a very aggressive tax authority. A lot of people love living there, but a lot of people absolutely do not want to pay Spanish taxes. It's a great example because I have many Spanish-speaking clients and deal with this situation constantly. The first thing you need to get clear on is what you actually want. Where do you want to live? If you want to live in the UK 12 months a year and maybe leave for 2 weeks of vacation, it's going to be very difficult to legally reduce your taxes. Now, could you open a US LLC and run money through it? Yes, and I can help you set that up and keep it compliant in the US. I won't advise you on how to improperly file in the UK, but I do have clients who operate that way. But many clients go a step further. They look at how they can spend a lot of time in the UK, maybe during the nicer months, while still legally avoiding tax residency there. And this is where the concept of center of vital interest comes in. That's where your real life is, where your kids go to school, where your friends are, where you own property, cars, have loans, memberships, and daily life. And the question becomes, how do we shift that in a way that works in your favor? A lot of people don't want to just move to Dubai and never come back to Europe, and that's totally fine. But if you are going to choose a low tax country, whether that's Dubai, Paraguay, Panama, or somewhere else, you can't just get residency there and then immediately fly back and live exactly the same life as before. If you still have a house in Spain, your kids are still in school there, your whole life is still there, but you are just staying under 183 days, that's usually only half a measure. What you really want is to turn that into a full measure. That means spending less than 183 days in your old country, but also having your home, your kids' school, your social life, your memberships, your organizations, and your documented life in the new country. That's how you actually separate yourself and substantiate that separation. Countries like Germany and Australia are moving more and more toward requiring proof that you have genuinely relocated, not just hopped around between countries and claimed residency somewhere else. So the trend is clearly moving towards substantiated exits. Good planning means picking a low tax country, setting up real roots there, documenting everything, and then spending limited time in the high tax country you came from, ideally after formally exiting the tax system. There are also countries offering flat tax regimes or special tax incentives to attract residents. Exploring those options is incredibly important, and it starts with deciding where you actually want to live. And then comes the operational side, and this is where I come in a lot. As long as you are not living in the US, we can help you open US companies, for example, US bank accounts and US payment processors. For example, you could run a consulting business with clients in Switzerland or France, establish residency in Paraguay, spend part of the year in Spain, part in Portugal, maybe a month in France, and still not pay tax anywhere. Why? Because you are operating through a US LLC that isn't subject to tax if you are not doing business in the US. You could be a Paraguayan resident with a cheap setup, an apartment, friends, documentation, real ties while running everything through a US company. It's a very low friction setup, and in many cases it actually helps you to grow because US clients often prefer working with US companies. At the end of the day, it comes down to whether you're open to traveling, whether you're okay with having 2, 3 or 4 places to rotate between, and whether the tax savings justify the lifestyle. Let's put some numbers to it. Say you are a consulting making 200,000 euro a year and paying 40% in tax. That is 80,000 euro gone every year, and over 10 years that's 800,000 euros, and that money could be invested into property, lifestyle, businesses, or your kids' future instead. If you can work remotely and you are flexible in how you get paid, there are massive opportunities right now to legally reduce your taxes, sometimes even down to zero. It just takes planning, effort, and openness to do things differently. Hopefully this video gives you a solid first step in understanding what's actually possible. If you've already set up but not sure your structure is correct, or if you have never heard of a properly structured, tax-efficient US LLC, I'm happy to help. You can schedule a free call through the link in the description. And as always, I learn a lot from clients all over the world, so I'm happy to share insights that might apply to your situation as well. Let me know in the comments if you are already paying low or no tax, or if you have done something similar. Share where you're living and what's working for you. I have a lot of clients in Panama and Paraguay, especially Europeans, who are just done with high taxes and want a better lifestyle. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.